Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, second canto, first chapter, text number 32. Verse 32. Vridottarasto dhara eva lobho dharmastano dharmapatosya prishtham kastasya medhram rishanau cha mitrau kukshi samudra girayosti sangha. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Translation. Modesty is the upper portion of his lips, hankering is his chin, religiousness is the breast of the Lord, and irreligion is his back. Brahmaji, who generates all living beings in the material world, is his genitals, and the Mitra Varunas are his two testicles. The ocean is his waist, and the hills and mountains are the stacks of his bones. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. The Supreme Lord is not impersonal as misconceived by less intelligent thinkers. Rather, He is the Supreme Person as confirmed in all authentic Vedic literatures. But His personality is different from what we can conceive. It is stated here that Brahmaji acts as his genitals and the Mitra Varunas are his two testicles. This means that as person he is complete with all organs of the body, but they are of different types with different potencies. When the Lord is therefore described as impersonal, it should be understood that his personality is not exactly of the type of personality found within our imperfect speculation. One can, however, worship the Lord even by seeing the hills and mountains or the ocean and the sky as different parts and parcels of the gigantic body of the Lord, the Virata Purusha. The Virata Purusha, the Rupa, as exhibited by Lord Krishna to Arjuna, is a challenge to the unbelievers. Thus ends the Bhaktivedanta purport. Hare Krishna. Idle mind is the devil's workshop. So different versions, devil's abode or devil's workshop, both mean almost the same thing. Next is empty vessels make more noise. And there is another Sanskrit traditional saying also, Karyeshu mantri, karaneshu dasi. So what is a common factor in all these three? Different proverbs, different tradition, different cultures, different timelines. One is of 14th century, one is of 18th century, so like that. So irrespective of time, place and circumstances, what one thing we can conclude is, all these are connected to mind, isn't it? So mind is actually very important factor. So Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita also, among all the senses, I am mind. So mind is the leader of all our gross senses. And here actually, if you see all this proverb, they are identifying that a mind which is not fully occupied or properly engaged or not monitored constantly is a source of danger. So mind is such an important thing. So for example, second proverb what we just recited, empty vessels make more noise. It's because if mind is not occupied, Prabhupada gives example of the frog also. Isn't it says in Bhagavad Gita, Bhumi Rapo Nalo Vayu, says in Bhagavad Gita, Bhumi Rapo Nalo Vayu, Kam Mano Buddhi Revacha, Ahankara Yatiyame Binna Prakrasti Ashtada. So these 8 energies made of 5 gross senses and 3 subtle sense. What is that? Mind, intelligence and false ego. So mind, intelligence, false ego means mind is always a homogeneous mixture of intelligence and false ego. It is always in touch with these 3, and these 3 elements are constantly in touch with the soul. So whatever mind thinks, actually the soul gets influenced. So that is one thing. So now there is identification of this problem, but these proverbs won't offer the solution. The solution is offered by Srila Shukadeva Goswami in this series of verses what we are seeing past few days. And in 32nd verse also, what actually 31st verse what we read today, it is a description of universal form of the Lord. Basically, Shukadeva Goswami, the context here is, he is speaking these verses of Srimad Bhagavatam to whom? Parikshit Maharaj. So King Parikshit. And King Parikshit, what is his status? What is his position? Although he is emperor of the whole world, he is destined to die in 7 days. So first canto is already passed. So few hours of Parikshit Maharaj has already gone by. Maybe few hours, probably 1 day. Now he is left with only how many days? At the max, 6 days. So we are in second canto, first chapter. So in those 6 days, the time is very, very precious for him. Every moment he has to focus his mind. He has to use his speech, his senses, activities, only in such activities which give him highest returns. He has to invest very, very cautiously. It's not that somebody has got 100 years, so maybe 25 years he can waste, so rest 75 years he can be serious. That is not the situation with Parikshit Maharaj. So Parikshit Maharaj has got only 6 days now left with him. So he is inquiring Shukadeva Goswami that what is that most important activity that every human being should perform, should do, and especially it is more of an importance to a person who is about to die. So that is actually in the previous few verses, Parikshit Maharaj got the answer from Shukadeva Goswami clearly that one should invest his time and energy in hearing about pastimes of the Lord, His holy name, His activities. Other than that, anything that is utilized, that is actually a waste of time. So because it does not be carry forwarded with the soul, it ends with the body. So actually it is here very important that Parikshit Maharaj, so then Parikshit Maharaj's question was, because not everybody is so elevated. So different categories of human beings are existing. So now somebody who is so elevated, for him he can always constantly meditate on the Supreme Lord, constantly chant Krishna's holy name. We will see as we go through different examples of exalted devotees. If that is not possible, then actually what one should do is at least he should begin meditating on different limbs, different parts of the body of the Supreme Lord. So universal. From today's verse also, it is said that so modesty is the upper portion of his lips, hankering is his chin, religiousness is the breast of the Lord. So like this, different the whole activity, most important activity is to engage our mind fully on meditating on either Lord's features or Lord's pastimes, Lord's holy name, Lord's activities. So that is actually most important engagement for the mind. So Prabhupada in one place, in Chaitanya Charitamrita also, Madhya Leela 22.31, there is a very nice analogy which makes it very clear. So Krishna Surya Sama Maya hai Andakar, Jaha Krishna Taha Nahi Mayar Adhikar. So the purport of this verse is that Krishna is compared to like a sun. Like for example, so there are so many lights in this hall, in this multivision theatre. So if the lights, the power is cut off, all the lights are put off, then what happens? Total darkness prevails. So Maya hai Andhakar actually. So Maya is compared to, ignorance is considered to be like darkness. So what is the solution for this? What is the way, only way to come out of this darkness is just switch on the light. Jaha Krishna Taha Nahi Mayar Adhikar. So this verse says, it's not that moment the lights are switched on, it's not that this verse is not saying that it is reduced jurisdiction. The darkness has completely, it's become less dark. No, moment all lights are switched on. For example, if sun, just like in the morning we see, whole night after the night passes, in the morning, 6 or 6:30 or 6:45, whatever, at the time of sunrise, the complete darkness is dissipated. Isn't it? So it's not that there is some darkness remaining, and as sun is still there, darkness and sun can exist simultaneously. That's not the situation. Moment sun is there, it is as good as that there is no darkness. So Krishna Surya Sama Maya hai Andhakar, Jaha Krishna Taha Nahi Maya Radhikar. So similarly, if our mind can be engaged in connection, hearing the activities of Krishna or chanting his holy name, if our mind is connected to Krishna, then there is no question of Maya's influence being done to our mind. So if our mind is properly situated, then all our activities also actually are conducted properly. So that is one example. So in 1974, once one devotee approaches Srila Prabhupada in the Mayapur, especially a young devotee who had recently joined temple, and then he comes to Prabhupada. He says that, Prabhupada, my mind is very much disturbed. So now what is the solution? What do you think Prabhupada's answer was? Anyone would like to volunteer? Okay, so it's not that Prabhupada said you try to analyze your mind, you just do a analysis, how, what is the cause of your this disturbance that is created in your mind. Or Prabhupada didn't say, probably you should do some XYZ method. So immediately what did Prabhupada say? Prabhupada said, fill the mind so completely with Krishna that there is no room left for anything else. You don't fight the darkness, but you bring in the light. So Prabhupada said, actually, it's a direct practical method, Prabhupada said. So Prabhupada said, because there is vacancy in the mind for some other thoughts to enter, so that is why now once the thoughts enter, then it will start acting. So you have to work at the root level itself. So Krishna also says in the Bhagavad Gita, similarly. So at the first step itself, when there is actually indication of something, bad thought entering our mind, right at the first step, we should actually stop it from entering. Moment we allow it to enter, then there is hardly any control. It will act. So Prabhupada is also telling, so mind should be so filled with Krishna, and so that there is no room left, no vacancy left for anything else to enter. So you don't fight the darkness. We cannot fight the darkness. Suppose there is full darkness here, I cannot get a sword and start trying to chop the darkness. So but you bring in the light. Prabhupada is exactly giving this analogy. So Prabhupada say, and also so the operating principle here is vacancy is the problem. So not the thought itself per se. So the cause for that thought to enter is because the root cause is there is vacancy. If there is no vacancy, if the mind is fully filled with Krishna, then there is no chance of entering any bad thought entering our mind. So similarly, Prabhupada gives an analogy also. So suppose there is a vessel, there is a pot, it is fully filled with water. Then there is no question that something else can be poured into it because it's already full. But whereas if the pot is empty or half full, or there is some space left, then there is chance for something to be poured into it. So similarly, Prabhupada says, gives reference of this in Bhagavad Gita also. So Krishna also says that yatato hyapi kaunteya purushasya vipaschitya indriyani pramathini haranti prasavam manaha. So even one of the senses, which including the mind, if it dwells on some sense object, it can actually completely make us forget our goal. It can completely deviate us from the path of righteousness. So actually this mind has to be completely monitored. In another place, Krishna also says in Bhagavad Gita, 2nd chapter, 66th verse, 2nd chapter, 66th verse, yes. Nasti buddhirayuktasya nacha yuktasya bhavanaha nacha bhavayatas shantir ashantasya kutas sukam. So suppose if the mind is not properly monitored and brighted, then not controlled, then where is the question of peace? And if there is no peace of mind, where is the question of happiness? Today all of us are looking for happiness, right? In the world, everyone wants to be happy. So the root cause is, the source for happiness is, first one has to be peaceful in the mind. If there is no peace in the mind, then there cannot be happiness. Now how does peace comes? Peace comes when the mind listens to soul's directions. That famous analogy is there, that horses, the chariot, the reins are there, and finally if the soul, the passenger actually has to direct the intelligence, the chariot driver, and then chariot driver through reins, he will control the horses, and then everything, the chariot actually goes to the destination where the passenger wants to go. Then he is at peace. But if horses on their own they are going, if chariot driver is on his own is driving, so that means passenger has no control. Passenger is always in anxiety. So where is the question of peace? Where is the question of happiness? It's a very big clue Krishna gives in Bhagavad Gita. So like that, if we analyze, there are so many instructions to the mind. In Bhagavad Gita, every chapter, especially in 6th chapter, 8th chapter, And then finally, 6th chapter, the conclusion is what? There are so many ways this mind can be controlled or properly guided. The best one is, Krishna says in 6.47, Yoginam api sarvesham madgatena antaratmana shraddhavan bhajate yomam same yuktatamo mataha. He is considered to be topmost yogi, and he is the most perfect in controlling the mind when he actually thinks of Krishna always and engages. Same yuktatamo matama. Actually, and with full faith, engages mind. Just knowing is not sufficient. Mind has to be engaged also. So mind's activity is accepting and rejecting. So once after accepting Krishna's activities, then we have to engage in Krishna's service. So that is the most easiest process and most effective process, Krishna says. And similarly, the very first verse of the next chapter also, 7.1, he begins with Shri Bhagavan Vacha, Mai asakta manaha. Asakta mana means mind attached to me, then we can know Krishna in truth. So like this Krishna gave, and then in the 8th chapter also, Mano Buddhi, Abhyasa Yoga, Partha Anuchintayan. So 8.8 verse also says that Anuchintayan. So mind has to think of Krishna, then it becomes very, very easy to control. So like that, from time immemorial, although these things exist, that sometimes we lose track of this fact that, mind, we take it for granted that mind, especially in today's age, when, sometimes some message comes, mobile is there, starts scrolling, we lose track what is happening, how much time is going by. So it is actually a word of caution that these great acharyas, for example, like Purandara Dasa, there is a very nice Kannada song also. Antakana duratige kinchittu dayavilla chintayenu bittu Shri Hariya nene marave. So the purport of this song is Antakana dutaru, basically the Yamadutas, the servants of Yamaraja, when they come, actually they are completely merciless. They don't even for a second. So that the very fact that we are so relaxed, very happy, because we have forgotten that one day I have to die. One day these Yamadutas will appear to take away my soul, and then I have to give up all my possessions, all this body, then one day I have to go. So he is giving the solution, Chintayanu bittu Shri Hariya nene manave. So all, setting aside all other so-called problems, the most important problems are birth, death, old age, disease. So to overcome this, Hariya nene manave. So he is giving the instruction, the mind should be instructed to chant the holy names of Krishna. So our mind should be engaged in service of Krishna, in chanting Krishna's name. So that is the purport. And similarly, Srila Raghunath Das Goswami also, he has composed a set of poems combinedly called as Manas Shiksha, that is instructions to the mind. So in that also, again and again, the mind is being given so much of instruction. Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur also refers this, and he says that mind, moment we get up in the morning, what we should do with our mind? So, beat it with shoes. And then before going to bed at night, again hit it with a broomstick. So, what does it mean? So, we should treat actually mind, just because it's invisible, doesn't mean that it can be taken for granted. So, suppose there is a gross enemy, we know he is an enemy, then it is very easy to tackle with him, isn't it? But somebody who is hiding is not directly visible to us. So handling such enemies is even more difficult. So this mind, not directly perceivable, not directly visible to our gross eyes. So that means it is much more a greater enemy, much more dangerous enemy. So that is why Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur instructs that symbolically, that we should actually, when we get up, immediately mind should be taught. This is what your activities, this is what your KR is. When somebody joins a company, he is given a booklet, or these days emails or whatever. So these are your roles and responsibilities. This is the duty you should do. So like that, morning and at night before going to bed, you should actually train, teach, guide the mind. Otherwise, mind, if we are not giving instruction to mind, then it will happen other way. If we don't give Manas Siksha, then mind will actually give instructions to us. So that means in the chariot, soul, the passenger is supposed to give instruction to the chariot driver, who in turn gives instructions to ultimately horses. But now what is happening? Because the soul is silent, he is himself not aware where he has to go, what instruction to give, he is confused. So horses are actually, it is working backwards. Wherever they want, they are going, and mind is actually controlling the soul. So that is the cause for all problems. And then Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur also, Kalyana Kalpataru in this songs. So it has 3 divisions. The very first division is Upadeshas, instructions to the mind, and then Gopinatha Mama Nivedana Suno. In that very beautifully, Bhaktivinoda Thakur says that, Gopinath, please guide my senses, mind especially, so that it will always remember you. It will always, and he also compares that great demons like Kamsa and different demons that were all killed by Krishna. Actually, they all went back to Godhead, or they got liberation. They samsara chakra se, actually they were all liberated. But still, he compares that Bhaktivinoda Thakur is still existing in this material world. So that means I am more unfortunate than those demons. So he is taking a humble position, indicating us that this should be our prayer. This should be our humble attitude. That we should always offer prayers to the Supreme Lord to guide our mind, to guide our senses, so that we are actually saved. And then Govinda Dasa also, that famous song, Bhajahure Mana Shri Nandanandana Abhaya Charanaravindare. So Mana actually should always be engaged in Krishna's service or Krishna's holy names chanting. And then Srila Rupa Goswami also says, what is the very first verse of Upadeshamrita? Vacho Vegam, Manasa Krodha Vegam. So the most important among all these things is actually Manas. The mind has to be properly guided. It has to be instructed. So that is the thing. Coming back to our verse. So here, Shukadeva Goswami, verse after verse, he is actually describing. Why? Because our mind is restless. So more than, because attention span, because these are all great sages, souls, they have seen that in Kali Yuga this is going to be the case. But otherwise in Satya Yuga, people used to meditate for thousands of years, sitting in one posture, in one place. They had that kind of attention, concentration, focus. So especially this Srimad Bhagavatam, Amala Purana, why it is so important for Kali Yuga? Because there are different techniques given. So suppose if we ask here someone to sit for 2 hours and meditate, so there are only 2 chances. Either after few minutes he'll get up and go away, he'll not be present. Second thing is, what is that option? Like some of devotees are doing, they may start snoring, you may get sleep. Because the attention span is so less after a few minutes, so mind is so restless, it wants variety. So that is why Srila Prabhupada, he has designed, although now Shukadeva Goswami is describing, moment we start meditating on the lotus feet of the Lord, after some time it becomes little boring for us. So then immediately there should be no gap. Immediately start meditating. We should go upper and upper on different parts of the Supreme Lord. So similarly, so Prabhupada also used the same technique. So morning, that is why even before we fully wake up, generally we are habituated, we wake up at sunrise, say 6 o'clock. So much before sunrise happens, that is 1.5 hours before sunrise, which is called Brahma Muhurta, our Acharyas, they have designed this technology of no vacancy to train the mind, that at 4:30 itself Mangalarati happens. So we are half asleep, still we should actually start training our mind even before our mind is fully active. Because when this mind is fully active, full of Rajoguna, it becomes very, very turbulent. So now when the mind is half sleep, so the soul, as a soul, the person is also half sleep. So that is where Bhaktivinoda Thakur says, Jeev jago, Gora Chanda bole, Kota Nidra jago maya, Pishachera kole. Because we are sleeping, soul is sleeping. Now mind is materialistic mind is trying to show its influence upon the soul. Now if soul is fully awakened, then what happens? The mind will not have any influence on such an awakened soul. So whole process, Prabhupada what he gave is right from Mangalarti in the morning. So Mangalarti, after that immediately what is the next anga? Tulsi Kirtan, Tulsi Kirtan, and then again chanting is there. So like this, one after one, there is no gap. So somebody was asking, ISKCON, the morning program is so hectic, it is so tiring. So that means actually that is how the dosage, the medicine is given to train the mind. If you give little gap, immediately the vacancy is created there. Moment vacancy is created, we are inviting, we are giving an opportunity for any thought, random thought to enter. And right time some message lands on your phone. So immediately the vacancy is created. If there is no vacancy, while chanting, if it comes, because continuously chanting is happening and there is no time for us to focus on phone, then there is no risk, there is no side effect created of that message, because we have not given the vacancy. So moment vacancy is created, actually we may get dragged into that. So that is why Prabhupada, right from Mangala Arati, Tulsi Puja, the Guru Puja class, Kirtans, everything, continuously the mind is being trained. It is overloaded. So there is no harm. In the spiritual perspective, in the material world, somebody overloads work with something, then actually there are chances that out of anxiety, he may develop a lot of pressure, then blood pressure, all these diseases may come. Somebody may get heart attack also, because suddenly some mail comes, tomorrow by deadline, end of the day, you have to complete all these tasks. He is overloaded. So because of that, anxiety may increase. But in the spiritual realm, the more it is overloaded with Krishna's service, Krishna's activities, it is much safer for the spirit soul. So that is how our acharyas, they have developed this technology right from Mangala Arati. There should not be any chance to create the vacancy in the mind. So the mind should be fully. So for example, Srimad Bhagavatam 7th canto, the glorious activities of Prahlad Maharaj. How Prahlad Maharaj, although he was a small boy, and what was his situation? Okay, we have facility now, we have Mangalarti to attend, we have time to chant, japa. No, but what was the situation of Prahlad Maharaj? So Prahlad Maharaj, he was just a small boy. He was born to a demonic father. He did not have freedom to even chant. And then he was sent to Gurukul for studies. There also he didn't have freedom. What was his curriculum? What was his syllabus? So the Shukracharya's son, Shanda and Amarka, were Prahlad Maharaj's teachers. So they were teaching him politics. They were teaching him this, how to get more and more power, how to engage one's in sense gratification. That is how, although they were supposed to be sages, Hiranyakashipu had terrorized them, forced them to give this kind of a syllabus. But this syllabus, Prahlad Maharaj was not liking. So whatever Prahlad was asked, he was speaking out of syllabus, because his mind was already filled with something else. He had already a different syllabus. In the womb of his mother, Narad Muni had given him the syllabus of Srimad Bhagavatam. So he had heard. So that syllabus was so great. Compared to that, all these social customs, politics, power, sense gratification, everything else was actually looking like a blade of grass without any worth. So that is why he did not give them much importance. He was not interested to learn them. So because there was no vacancy created in the mind, he was full with this philosophy, with Krishna's holy name, attachment for Krishna, and he was a Mahabhagavata. So that's how he was actually able to continue with all kinds of disturbance given to him, with all kinds of punishment. He was thrown at the feet of elephants to be trampled. He was thrown from mountains, put inside a boiling well, given poison. So whatever his father tried, Hiranyakashipu tried, he was completely fearless. Prahlad Maharaj was completely fearless. Even fear could not enter his mind, his consciousness. So that was the kind of fullness he was into, that there is no chance. That was the kind of faith he had in the protection of the Lord. So he did not give any chance. No vacancy is not created. So that is why Prahlad says in 7.9.19, beautiful set of Prahlad Maharaj prayers we chant during Narsimha Abhisheka and Saturday, different festivals and all that. That one of the prayers, it says, translation will read, Prahlad says, now save me, he did not say that save me from father or dangerous situations, etc. He says, only let my mind be never attracted to material enjoyment, and hence please protect my consciousness. And one more, the most important prayer what he says is, direct benedictions also he did not ask anything from the Lord. Only he wanted to engage in service of the servant of his servant, Narad Muni. So Narad Muni was the guru from whom he got this knowledge. So as a matter of gratitude, he wanted to engage in his service. So that was the only prayer he did. So similarly, Haridas Thakur also, how many rounds he was chanting every day? 192 rounds, approximately 20 hours, 3 lakh holy names. So out of 24 hours, around 20 to 21, 22 hours, he was chanting every day. So he was actually, that is why he is called Namacharya. So nobody can imitate him, nobody can ever think of following him, imitating him, but one can just follow a bit of what he tried to give this as a message. So what he was trying, he was also trying to create no vacancy. Of course, although he was a pure devotee, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu himself told him when he was becoming old, please reduce the rounds. But still, Haridas Thakura did not want to put his faith on the mind, and he wanted to continuously engage the mind in chanting the holy name of the Lord. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So his mind was not getting bored. Sometimes we know when we start chanting 16 rounds, there was a devotee who asked another devotee, so long back, so why are you chanting rounds? So he said, what could be the answer to get Krishna Prema, Krishna Bhakti? That is all very lofty ideas. So this devotee, because they were friends, practically he answered. He said, I chant rounds to finish chanting. So that is also good. On the instruction of Prabhupada, Prabhupada told to chant 16 rounds. Okay, to start with, that can be the thing. So that is how the situation of a conditioned soul. But Haridas Thakur was not chanting like that. Rupa Goswami they were not chanting like that. So they were chanting because they were really tasting it, and they were experiencing Krishna while they were chanting, and they were directly in touch with Krishna on the pure devotional platform. So they were giving this example that mind should not be given any vacancy. So it's actually spiritual technology, what they wanted us to learn, that moment we give actually chance, any vacancy, there is a chance that any thought can come and sit. But if the mind is full, that water pot example, if the vessel is full, then we cannot pour any liquid into it. Okay, so that is the thing. And then Narad Muni also. So Narad Muni also same thing. He travels all throughout the universe. He doesn't attend specific morning program. He goes to sometimes Devatas, Indra Loka, and sometimes he goes to demons also. He meets common men. So he has got association from everybody. So he is actually spiritually most vulnerable. Sometimes some devotees, they were asking, when we go outside for preaching, then we come across so many things that actually are against Krishna consciousness. We see everywhere these billboards are there, advertisements are there. So many distractions. So similarly, that was the situation. How one can save oneself is this Narad Muni, what he was doing always? Narad Muni Bajai Veena Radhika Ramana Name. So he was always chanting Narayan, Narayan, or Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. So he was always chanting Krishna's holy name, and so that way his mind was fully occupied. Of course, he was playing Veena, and then he was singing very beautifully, chanting very beautifully. So that way his mind was hooked onto Krishna always. He was in touch with Krishna always. So that is where the vacancy was never created. He never felt that, there is something I'm lacking, something is missing. He was full with Krishna consciousness. So that is also one very nice state of consciousness, our Acharya. So then, okay, this is all about great devotees, Acharyas. Now, how Prabhupada actually, he demonstrated Acharya. So the word Acharya means one who leads by example. So he demonstrates ways and means, practical ways, how even a common man can adopt these lofty principles in day-to-day affairs. So then, there was once, there is a memory, recollection. This is in 26 2nd Avenue, New York, in the 1967. So there is a visitor, he actually asks Srila Prabhupada, how can I remember Krishna when my mind is always thinking of family, friends, country? So Srila Prabhupada gives practical example. Yes, think of, but at the same time chant. Two things will go on, and this chanting of Hare Krishna will conquer. As Maya is forcing you to drag you from Krishna consciousness, you also force Maya by chanting Hare Krishna. There is a fight, and Maya will go away, and ultimately Krishna will be victorious. So that is why in Mahabharata also, the battle of Kurukshetra, while it was happening, so Krishna also told Arjuna, Krishna didn't say Arjuna that you sit quiet. No, you have to fight also. Mam anusmara yudhyacha. So you have to fight also. But at the same time, we cannot wait that after fighting, let the fight get over, then I will start chanting. That will not work out, because in the fight, maybe alive, may not be alive. So if you are not alive, then the opportunity to chant is lost forever. So immediately, tat kshanat. So immediately we should start this opportunity. Whenever there is opportunity of chanting, of reading, of hearing kirtans or doing kirtans, so immediately we should take up this, so that eventually there is a fight, and then eventually Krishna will come out victorious. And there is another memory, it's recalled by one devotee. So because this in the same 26 2nd Avenue, New York, that first temple, the the small storefront, that was like, you can imagine in today's Brigade Road, MG Road, into 10 times. That was the kind of New York street that was. Always busy with people, busy with vehicles in those days, 1960s. This was the situation. And worse than that is, people were so much, there were drug addicts, there are drunkards, there are all sorts of people. So to say that actually they were animals in the human form. So those kind of peoples were existing. And Prabhupada's center happened to be in such a place. And the door used to be open. And one day, Prabhupada was actually giving Bhagavad Gita class to a few of the disciples, few guests who had come. It was a small place. And then this one person walks by. So this devotee recollects. The people who came were disturbed, sometimes or most of the times intoxicated, philosophically confused, emotionally in pain. So these kind of people used to come, confused people. So they would arrive arguing, demanding answers, and they were in crisis, genuinely, because some were genuinely inclined to know what is this life's all about. Nobody wants pain, but still pain is, given forcefully. Then they would have come in touch with some Eastern philosophy, okay, some Baba, some yogi, but they were trying some techniques, but they were not getting the actual expected results. So they were, genuinely somewhere seeking questions. So this guy also, he was actually little intoxicated. So this devotee recollects. So in this situation, a man enters. He was intoxicated. He was drunk or drugged with LSD or something. The atmosphere changed and became tense. So Srila Prabhupada stopped. So Prabhupada is speaking, and this man enters suddenly in this condition, who was totally intoxicated or drugged, looking very fearful, very dangerous. And then so then he asks that what to do now. Prabhupada was speaking, Prabhupada's focus went there. So immediately the class stopped, Prabhupada stopped. So then Prabhupada, what he did immediately? So Prabhupada said, now because he will not allow continuously, because he may create some scene. So immediately what did Prabhupada do? Prabhupada said, the room changed instantly, and then Prabhupada said, let's start chanting now. So then immediately when Prabhupada started chanting, the whole environment which had become tense immediately got spiritualized. So and then what happened? Because Prabhupada, so this devotee recollects, the agitation settled. And then because Prabhupada's mind was so completely filled with Krishna that it created what we might call a gravitational field of presence, other minds entering that field would naturally begin orienting toward the same sun. So this devotee who had come with a lot of confusion, so immediately what happened? He also actually became part of kirtans, and then he actually peacefully, he loved kirtan, and he did not create any scene. And then that's how Prabhupada, then later on he distributes prasadam to him and he sends. So Prabhupada also said that, yes, so Prabhupada writes in a letter to Mukunda Prabhu 1968, every disciple should always remain busy in some work for Krishna. We shall not allow our mind to remain vacant. And if the mind is always filled up with Krishna conscious activities, there is no chance of Maya to sit on the mind and force us to act under her spell. So actually this is what Prabhupada is telling, that he is also giving this secret of how one's mind should be fully focused on. And always if we think of Krishna, Krishna's service, Krishna's holy name activities, and then the vacancy is not created in the mind. So if vacancy is not created in the mind, so mind will not have any chance to think of something else that is disconnected from Krishna. So that way it is very easy for us to practice Krishna consciousness. So that is what in today's verse also, so we began that how Shukadeva Goswami, different verses as we progress, ultimately the conclusion Shukadeva Goswami says that it is the mind that we should, so these specific instructions are for those class of devotees like we discussed about Narad Muni, the Acharyas, who are always able to think the personal form, personal feature of the Lord. And the personal feature of the Lord means Lord has his activities, he has different relationship with different kinds of devotees. If somebody whose mind is so turbulent, so restless, he cannot focus on these personal aspects of the Supreme Lord. So to the lesser intelligent devotees, Prabhupada also says in today's purport also, the Supreme Lord is not impersonal as misconceived by less intelligent thinkers. Rather, he is the Supreme Person as confirmed in all authentic Vedic literatures. So because less intelligent people cannot conceive of the personal feature, personal form of the Lord, so Prabhupada, Shukadeva Goswami has also given ways and means to focus on different limbs of the body. And Prabhupada in elsewhere also says that, so because less intelligent class of people immediately cannot take up chanting. So like example, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu also says, Yajantihi Sumay Yajnai Sankirtana Prayar Yajantihi Sumay Dasaha. Only most intelligent people can take up this Krishna consciousness chanting. But somebody is not able to take, it takes some time. Like Krishna also says in Bhagavad Gita, Bahunam Janmanamante Jnanavam Mam Prapadyate Vasudeva Sarvamiti Sah Mahatma Sudurlabha. So it will take some time, gradually, it's a spiritual journey, life after life. Somebody who is in full knowledge of Krishna, he can take up to full Krishna consciousness. But somebody still on an intermediate path, for them, this universal forms description. Prabhupada also says what Arjuna saw on the battlefield of Kurukshetra, the 11th chapter Bhagavad Gita description, the different features of the Supreme Lord. Ultimately, Arjuna becomes fearful. Arjuna desires, I want to see your Saumya Rupa, your very pleasing two-handed form. So Krishna shows from universal form, four-handed form, and then even four-handed form, although it is so beautiful, Vishnu form, Arjuna was not satisfied. Arjuna wanted to see the two-handed Shyama Sundara form. So then Krishna actually reveals that to him. So similarly, Prabhupada also elsewhere describes, so somebody is not able to take up Krishna's Sankirtan, Krishna's chanting of holy names, meditating on Krishna's activities, pastimes. For them, this universal forms description is also there. And below that, somebody who is even that not appreciative. Why we have to appreciate Krishna? Why Krishna is given so much importance, even in the universal form? So for them, again, Devata Puja is actually recommended. So in the Karma Kanda portion, Karma Kanda, Jnana Kanda, Upasana Kanda. So gradual progression. Ultimately, Upasana Kanda, most of the demigods. And then ultimately, Aradhananam Sarvesham, Vishnur Aradhana Param. Tasmat Parataram Devi, Tadiyanam Yat Samarcharam. So Lord Shiva is the topmost Vaishnava, who is one of the top demigods, who are top devatas, who is in charge of controlling the administration, annihilation of this material world and all that. So he recommends that among all kinds of worship, Vishnu worship is the topmost one. So Prabhupada says, so this, but already in the verse which is that exact verse where 12th verse, Shukadeva Goswami in this chapter, he's made it very clear. That exact verse I was trying, maybe it is... Yes, in this 12th verse, Shukadeva Goswami is giving, 11th verse. Etan nirvidyamananam ichchatam akuto bhayam yoginam nripan nirnitam harer namanu kirtanam. O king, constant chanting of the holy name of the Lord after the ways of the great authorities is the doubtless and fearless way of success for all, including those who are free from all material desires and also those who are desires of all material enjoyment, as well as those who are self-satisfied by dint of transcendental knowledge. So, akama sarvakamo va moksha kama udaradi tivrena bhakti yogena yajeta purusha param. So, this is the ultimate conclusion. But even for others also to give some different kinds of options. Now, Shukadeva Goswami is describing all these different features of the Supreme Lord, where different parts are representing different activities or different personalities like Lord Brahma, Mitra, Varuna. So, the ultimate conclusion is we have to get attached to the personal feature form of the Lord. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, being the Yugavatara who has incarnated in this Yuga to establish Yuga Dharma. So, Yuga Dharma is chanting of Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. So, if we can fully engage our mind, attentively chanted here, so that is how Madhupanit Prabhu is constantly conducting so many soulful japa sessions. So, ultimately, if we can get hooked on to this chanting, this is the easiest process. But if somebody wants varieties, so that is why Prabhupada has given us so many varieties. Navavida Bhakti also. Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu Smaranam, Padasevanam, Archanam, Vandanam, Dasyam, Sakhyam Atmanivedana. So we can, moment we get bored, we can start reading Krishna's books, Srila Prabhupada's Bhaktivedanta purports. Again, that also becomes boring. Then you go before the deities, have beautiful darshan of the forms of the Lord, personal form. And then that also becomes boring after some time. And so this is the situation in the material world, conditioned souls. Even Lord's personal form, who is non-different, who is standing there giving darshan, after some time it becomes hackneyed for us. So we shift to other activity which is fully Krishna conscious activity again. So hear some lecture or perform some kirtan and then again hear some classes. So like that, one after one, if we can continuously engage our minds without leaving any gap, without creating any vacancy for our mind to think anything else. So that means, so this verse also in the 11th verse, first chapter of the second chapter says, that is the ultimate success of life. So this is the few of the points which we could discuss. If anyone has any questions or comments, you can discuss for 5 more minutes. Yes, there is one question here. Hare Krishna. Yes. Yeah, so the question here is why it is said worshipping pure devotee, tadiyas, the pure devotees of the Supreme Lord is much more higher than worshipping the Supreme Lord himself, as told by the topmost Vaishnava himself, Lord Shiva. So that is because approaching Lord is very, very difficult. So what is Lord's position? Like for example, Prabhupada also gives this example. There is a president of a country or prime minister. So directly approaching prime minister for a common man, it is almost impossible. But if he follows the proper channel and then he catches hold of his secretary and then he convinces secretary to get an appointment from the prime minister, then it becomes very easy, sure shot. But directly approaching, if he writes 100 emails, 100 letters, still the prime minister or the president of the country may not see it. So he has to follow a proper channel. So this same our Guru Parampara, so Srila Prabhupada is the present Acharya, current link of our Brahmamadhva Gaudiya Sampradaya. If we approach Prabhupada, and it becomes very, very easy, because Yasya Prasadat Bhagavat Prasado. So by pleasing Prabhupada, and Krishna is also pleased. So Prabhupada gives in this context another example also. There is a big person. So pleasing a big person is very tough job, because he has got everything. He has got riches, he has got name, fame, power. What a common man can offer. You cannot offer him, okay, I will offer you 1 lakh rupees. He is not impressed. But the same powerful person, he has got a small child, 2-year-old child, and you give him 1 rupee chocolate to that child. Your expenditure is only 1 rupee. The child is very much pleased. The child is full happy. So immediately that powerful person is also very much pleased. So that is why what we can offer to Supreme Lord directly to please Him. So yajna, dana, tapa, karma, natyajam. So basically whatever austerities we do, whatever sadhana we do, whatever riches we offer, because everything ultimately is coming from Him only. He is the master of all opulences, especially 6 opulences. So nobody can impress Him directly. So we can only show our sincerity and seriousness through a pure devotee. If pure devotee is pleased, then he becomes pleased. So that is why Sakshadharitvena Samasta Sacha. So for us, Srila Prabhupada, we have to adore him, we have to respect him, worship him as good as Krishna. So then by seeing that, Krishna also, yes, appreciates. Because pure devotee has taken so much compassion to come down to this material world, Krishna has personally sent him to do Krishna's work. So he is a representative. So just like Prabhupada gives in the similar context, another example. Suppose somebody is authorized on behalf of a company. Now whatever that power of attorney holder, authorized person, deals with the another company or a common man or whoever it is, the company is responsible. So that is the kind of faith the company has put on him. So similarly, Krishna has personally chosen Prabhupada, and then Prabhupada actually, if he recommends, even though somebody is not qualified, if Prabhupada tells, you should take him, Krishna, back to home, back to Godhead. So Krishna will take it. So that is why he is so pleased. So, O Vaishnava Thakur, in that song also, it is said that how Krishna Tomar, Krishna Dite Par. So Krishna is actually sold out to pure devotees. So pure devotee is holding Krishna in his pocket. He can distribute anybody who wants to take. Just that our desire to have Krishna. So that is how Lord Shiva, all the great souls, they glorify. Because Narad Muni's example we saw, Haridas Thakur and Rupa Goswami or any of the Goswami, any of the Acharyas, they are all very, very compassionate. So they take so much of troubles, so-called troubles, because they don't feel any trouble, but still they, because they are so much compassionate to help the conditioned souls again regain their original consciousness. So they are working so hard. We know how much Prabhupada worked hard. At the age of 70, he went to US single-handedly with 2 heart attacks on the way, and hardly used to take rest at night, 2 hours, 2.5 hours, and then he used to translate whole night to give us all these Bhagavatam purports and so many books, literatures, and continuously meeting people, preaching to them, trying to convince them about this importance of human life. Only in this human form one can go back to Krishna. We can ask questions, Atatu Brahma Jignasa. So letters, continuously Prabhupada worked so much hard. That is why Krishna is so much pleased. So that is the way, from a conditioned soul's point of view, worshipping the pure devotee is much more important than worshipping Krishna. So eventually, by worshipping pure devotee is a transparent via media. Actually, we are worshipping Krishna. So eventually, we are simultaneously worshipping Krishna also. Yes. Yes, another, this Mataji gave the reference, that Purandara Dasa's song, Guru Vina Gulama Nagvatanaka Doraya Danna Mukati. So it is not possible to attain perfection or liberation without becoming first the servant of the bona fide spiritual master. So that is the position of a bona fide spiritual master, that he is the link, immediate, whatever service we offer with so much of lacunas, with so much of ingredient deficit, that deficiency is fulfilled, and Prabhupada is offering to Krishna. So that is the position. He is a transparent via media. Just like this glass, without this glass my vision is not clear. So if I wear the glass, I can see things clearly. So spiritual master acts as the transparent via media. He is not keeping anything to himself, and he is offering fully by adding ingredients which are missing, so that it becomes compatible to be offered to Krishna. Yes. Sorry? Yes, through the whole disciplic succession. So Prabhupada offers to his guru offers to his guru. So like that, ultimately it reaches Krishna. Otherwise, directly if you try to offer, it is difficult. Krishna may accept, may not accept. So it's like that. But through Prabhupada, when you offer, it is 100% sure it goes to Krishna. Okay, so we'll stop here. Thank you. Srimad Grantaraj, Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Vishwa Guru Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Nitai Gaur Premanande.